And I think we got an announcement that this meeting will be recorded. Awesome. So thank you everybody for joining. This is the June version of the Stockton REI Network Mastermind. And I'm thankful for all of you for joining. I'm Willie. I'm going to be your host here today. I've been putting together the Stockton REI Network for about a year now, and I'm excited for everybody to come and join. So I'm going to share my screen with the agenda that we have for today. Great. So for today's agenda, we're going to go through a round of introductions. We're going to have an open discussion. A lot of you submitted questions during registration, which is great. And then we're going to spend the last few minutes on announcements up through 8 p.m. today. So for introductions, everybody, I'm going to ask everybody to introduce themselves. Please say your name, where you're from, your real estate investing experience, what you're looking for, or what you are hoping to learn. So I'm going to get started. Jason, if you don't mind, you'll go next, followed by Tom, Giangelo, and then Don. So I'll go first. I'm Willie. I'm born and raised in Stockton, California. I am a real estate investor. I have about 3 units here in the Stockton, California area. I also have units out of state in Indianapolis, where I focus on single family and multifamily. And what I'm hoping to look for, or what I'm looking for here, is to network with people, grow my own network, get in touch with people, help people find the resources they need. And what I'm hoping to learn, I want to learn from people with more experience, like Tom, Giangelo, Jason, and Don, about what projects you guys got going on. Every time I hear stories from other people, I get inspired. I feel like I'm not doing enough, and it helps me get my butt up off the couch and do a little bit more. So with that being said, I'd love to pass it on to Jason to do an introduction, followed by Tom.
Can you guys hear me? All right, Jason James. I'm originally from Los Angeles, but I've been in NorCal, Stockton for the last 25 plus years. So pretty much Stocktonian now. In regards to my real estate experience, I started back in 2018 with my first out-of-state single family property. I am now up to, closed on one last week. I'm up to 5 and 1 under contract. My goal this year is to add 20 additional doors to my portfolio. So I got a big nut to crack. I got some momentum going. What I'm looking to do, very similar to Willie, like I love real estate. I love talking about it. I love learning new strategies, hearing people's stories, you know, definitely inspiring and give me different ways to approach it. Right now, I'm primarily focused on out of state with a high focus on Michigan and St. Louis. But, you know, in the next year or so, I'll be focused back in Stockton. I have a duplex in Stockton, but kind of to what Tom mentioned earlier, the prices are kind of out of whack out here. So that's why I'm looking out of state, but I will be looking back in this area fairly soon. So.
Awesome. Thanks, Jason. Tom, if you don't mind going next, and then we'll follow up with Giangelo.
Yeah, this is Tom Fuere. I live in San Jose, California. Actually, my first flip was out of state in Washington near Tacoma. And when I first started getting involved in real estate investing about 4 years ago, did a number of flips in the Stockton and Lodi area. That's where I know Giangelo. We actually worked together on a number of those. And basically, I'm still focusing right now on rehabs. I actually have a property that have under contract, hoping to close by next Friday in Boulder Creek, which is in Santa Cruz County up in the mountains. First deal in Santa Cruz County, although, you know, I've looked there. I actually grew up in Watsonville, which is South Santa Cruz County. And right now, my focus primarily is the Bay Area, looking for flip properties and or wholesale deals. I was kind of mentioning that earlier. I'm working with a partner right now where he seems to be coming up with properties in some of the higher end areas north of the South Bay, more like Menlo Park, Redwood City, and we're I've been able to make contacts with a number of developers, so I've gotten enough information from them to know what they would be looking for as far as the numbers. And then actually one of the things that I'm working on that I wanted to let people know is that I'm working with some other partners and we're looking to do modular home development in the Bay Area to start with, single family homes. And if that takes off, then we would look to do, multi-unit and or smaller commercial. We're working with a particular modular company that I think is going to be very successful. So I think we're partnering with a good one. And basically what I'm looking for is I want to keep investing in the Central Valley. I think that's a good area. I think the prices there will continue to go up, although finding a place has been not the easiest, but I'm still looking. And in particular, I have a partner who actually lives in, you could say, the Central Valley, and he's going to be the one that would be, if we get something under contract, kind of running the show. So I'm hoping to network and, like you were saying earlier, Willie, learn from people. I think it's always best when you attend events like this and see what other people are doing and see if you can network. And just one little story, the roofer that did the inspection at the property that I'm buying in Boulder Creek, I found out that he actually, lived in the area. We're about the same age. I actually just talked to him before I got on this meeting, and he has quite the rental portfolio and quite the construction background, not just roofing. That is his primary thing. So you just never know when you're going to run across somebody that you can learn from and see what they're up to. And so it's going to be interesting because he actually owns a number of properties. Okay, can you hear me now?
Yeah, there you go. Sorry about that.
No, that's okay. Do you want me to restart anything or just let it go?
Yeah, you were just I think you were wrapping up with the roofer that you had.
Oh yeah, I was just gonna say, you just never know when you're gonna meet somebody and you can network. I'm having a roof inspection done at this property that I'm buying in Boulder Creek, and found out that this guy's, beside just having a roofing company, he's lived for a while in Santa Cruz County, and then he actually has a number of rental properties up in the Gold Country in a city called Copperopolis. So I've been kind of interested in going up there and seeing what real estate is like there. So now I'll be able to have a personal connection. So you just never know when you can meet people and network with them and see maybe some new areas.
Absolutely, Tom. And obviously, that's what I was talking about for inspiration right there. You're a busy guy. Definitely need to get on your level for sure. Thank you, Tom, for joining and for the introduction. Sure. Giangelo, if you don't mind going next, and then Don, if you will follow up with Giangelo for sure.
All right, so my name is Giangelo, and I'm from San Francisco. And currently, I just flip houses. Right now, I have 9 projects. I have 4 in the Bay Area and then 5 in Central Valley. I started about 3 years ago, so about a year after Tom. And me and Tom, like he said, we worked together on a few flips out there, and that's where I started. I started out in Stockton, and what I'm looking for, it says, and what you're hoping to learn. I'm looking for just to network with others and to learn what others are doing. I'm trying to formulate like a new like financial model and strategy outside of just flipping houses. I was thinking about doing multifamily, but adding on with units. And then, I'm taking courses for real estate development. I've done Chris Porto's class for real estate development. And then I'm taking the Adventures in CRE class right now. So just trying to learn it a bit more. Oh, and I'm part of ULI, part of the mentorship group, so I could just keep learning. So the biggest thing is trying to learn more about multifamily, just because it's so different from single family home flipping, and just trying to learn the strategies that would prepare like investors like that are small or and entrepreneurial to go fast and still be able to um, be more in a blue ocean compared to a red ocean, like from Blue Ocean Strategy, the book, and then be very profitable. And yeah.
Thanks, Giangelo. Definitely a busy guy for sure. Thank you for coming. Don, if you don't mind going next, and then we will go to Chris.
Yeah, my name's Don Cornell. I live out in Fremont, California. I currently have one rental out in the Central Valley, a little town called Empire. Let's see what else. Looking to see how the Stockton market is. I spend a lot of time out there. My daughter plays softball, so we're at Arnez Field all the time. So I figure if I'm out there all the time, I might as well start, searching for some new buy and holds. I did grow up in Modesto, so I have some resources out there for work and stuff. So I don't have an issue there. Currently, I have some hard money lent out to a guy up in Vallejo. Other than that, I'm just learning and, trying to network with more people.
Don with a great background here. Thank you for joining. I appreciate you joining, Don. And if you're ever in the area, Jason and I live here, so we're happy to show you around, to show you some great neighborhoods for sure. Next, we'll go with Chris, followed by Bobby, and then we'll close out with Vineet here. So Chris, if you don't mind going next.
Good evening, guys. My name is Chris Eccles. I'm from Menlo Park, California. My investing experience, I have a duplex in Stockton currently. And what I'm looking for networking pretty much. I'm going into development because there's a lot of vacant lots in my neighborhood, and that's it.
Great. Thanks, Chris. I appreciate you coming back here. So thanks again for joining.
Thank you.
And then we will go to Bobby and then Vineet to close us out for the introductions here.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? So I'm Bobby Gomez. I live just outside of Lodi, California. I'm between Lodi and like Comanche area. I have two multiplexes. I have two triplexes, both in Lodi. And they're newer to me. I've only had them for less than a year. I'm new to buy and hold. Before I just did private lending. I decided, I'm gonna start using my own capital to start doing my own thing and start investing in my own stuff. I've helped lots of house flippers do different things and help them kind of network. And I have kind of a force of people that can go out, be contractors and inspectors and things like that. So that's been, very lucrative, but I decided, it's time for me to just kind of start nestling down and holding on to my own properties and start trying to reap those rewards instead of lending out the money. So it's been an experience, quite an experience. I'm about, 3 months in to these two triplexes, and I'm already in litigation. So it's pretty crazy. But yeah, overall, I'm here for the networking experience, kind of network with other people who are in multifamily. That's kind of my niche. It's where I want to be at. Three plexes and more, or single families where I have potential for ADU. So yeah, just here for networking and kind of see what everybody else has got going on and see who I can connect with.
Bobby, thanks for coming. I think this is your first time here, so I appreciate you taking the time to join us here.
Absolutely.
And we'll close out with Vineet.
Hey guys, yeah, my name is Vineet. I'm from Bay Area. Most of my investments are in Bay Area currently, and I'm here for networking. So and get to know what other people are doing in state or out of state. So that's all about it.
Thanks, Vineet. Always appreciate you coming back for sure. So now we're going to transition over to the open discussion. A lot of you submitted questions about topics you wanted to discuss. Listed here are all of the themes among those questions. So general and Stockton market insights, construction costs, what others are doing to get deals and off-market deals, and the Stockton rental market and best areas. So if one of these are your questions, would love for you to come off of mute. Let us know kind of what questions you had in mind. this is one of the bigger masterminds that we've had, and it seems like we have a very diverse experience set. So I think we can definitely have a pretty fruitful dialogue and conversation here. So if this was one of your topics, please come off of mute. Let us know what you're thinking, what questions you have, and let's all just jump in as we see fit.
Well, my question was about what everybody else's construction costs were when they're renovating properties or building properties in the Central Valley in general, like general construction costs.
I think in terms of construction, I don't know if this is right, but it sounded like Bobby and Tom, it kind of something closer to your experience, or am I missing the mark here?
No, it's pretty close. I think one of the last contractors I work with, I have to look back at my notes, but if I'm not mistaken, it's ground up build is $18 a square foot. And renovation costs, I mean, that's hard because renovation, it really depends on how bad that house actually is, but it's about between $14 and $16 a square foot. And those are just rough figures to kind of figure out where you are, but I'd say anywhere between $14 and $18 a square foot is about where you're at.
How much was it for the ground up?
For the roundup?
For the ground up construction?
Yeah, ground up is closer to 18 because you have there's a lot more permits, a lot more red tape. It really depends on how much, how big of square footage you're going, what areas you're going, what the schools are going to charge you for going up in those areas too, because the schools have a lot to do with it too. They want to put their hands in there.
Like, you mean $118 per square foot?
I think is it 118? Let me look at my notes. Give me one second.
Okay.
I have my contractor's email right here where we were talking about this recently. So let me see.
Is that is the $14 to $18 per square foot, is that with a GC, or is that like the GC's own cost?
That's with a GC.
That's with the GC. Oh wow, I'm paying too much then. I think I'm at like 25, I think 25 or 30.
Is that for this area or is that the Bay?
That's for that area. For the Bay, I'm like around 75 to sometimes 100 to 150.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Okay. You're a little bit on the high side then if you're Central Valley.
Yeah.
Tom, I saw you come off of mute there. Is there something you wanted to add to the conversation?
Well, as far as construction costs, I mean, I mentioned that, I've been talking to some developers for higher end properties in the Bay Area, particularly in the peninsula, doing brand new, if they were like tearing down a building, the home and putting up a new one, and this would be more what I would say is luxury. And the numbers I was getting was around 350 to 400 a square foot, fully burdened, which would mean that would include their entitlement and permit costs. So basically the full on, if you wanted to, do something like that, or what you would have to pay a developer to build something like that. I got about that same number from 3 different developers in the Bay Area for higher end properties to build brand new. So I just thought I'd share that.
Got it. Oh yeah, I got the same.
I don't know if that's really applicable to this group, but
How are you guys finding your contractors in the Central Valley generally? Because since like I'm not usually in the Central Valley, only when I go to my projects, it's a little bit harder for me to meet people. And I notice when I go online, contractors in the Central Valley, when you go online in general, they just cost more, it seems.
So I have one contractor that I've been willing to work with recently, who's actually been willing to work for a percentage of the flip. Will actually come out of pocket up front. He'll pay for everything as long as he gets a percentage, and then of course the percentages are all negotiable. So he's trying to get into real estate. He's trying to do that. So I've figured that a lot of these guys that are it's very competitive right now for construction. There's so much work out there. There's a ton of work. So coming in and offering these guys a piece of the pie, it takes that, from you having to come out of pocket for the construction cost up front, if they're willing to fund it, and then they end up making maybe a little bit more, but then you get to keep your capital, and there's a give and take there. So I've noticed that with a couple of guys. There's one that I've actually done a project with in the Sacramento area. So that's something that I want to start trying to figure out, like, hey, is this something that you would, consider doing? And ears have always perked every time I brought it up. Other than that, like you said, when you're just going online and looking for these guys, everybody, it's kind of like, if they are going to take your job, it's because they're going to turn something else down. So it's high dollar.
Okay, that makes sense. Yeah, that's a good idea. I heard of another investor in the Bay Area doing something similar in San Jose, and I think he could get his cost down to $200 per square foot for a new build, with giving a percentage to the contractor.
That's great for San Jose.
Yeah, I think it went up recently. Actually, it went up to, I think he was telling everybody it's going up to like 250 to 300. But I think at the time, that was like a year ago, he said it was 200. But I think because material costs are going up so much, which is why the price per square foot is getting higher.
Yeah, Giangelo, from my experience, I'm not as experienced with doing the flips and renovations that some of the other people in the group have done, but one of the projects that I did more recently was add or convert a living room into the original third bedroom that it should have been. I will say with that project, I did what you were saying. I found pretty much every contractor I could find online, on Yelp, Angie's List, anywhere. And I actually met with each of them for the project. As Bobby mentioned, those rates are quite large. What I ended up finding was a roofing contractor was more than willing and more than capable to do the actual construction project themselves. So given that the intricacies of redeveloping or fixing a roof actually involve all of the kind of tools and technical skills that you need for renovating a house, I found that a roofing contractor would be willing to do it for a fraction of what a general contractor would be willing to do it. So that might be a creative way to do it. In addition to that, I have, like, in my personal circle of friends and family, for example, somebody who works for PG&E as an electrician, and someone who his dad is a painter for large multifamily projects in the Bay Area. And I've reached out to them as resources for almost subcontracting that work out. And that's saved me quite a bit. For example, for a 1,000 square foot house, I paid $1,000 for painting the inside of the home. So I think that's a creative way. I'm happy to spread my network to those who may need it. So, but I think those are kind of creative ways to think about it if you are looking to cut costs a little bit.
Got it. Thank you. Those are good ideas.
Great. I want to go down this list of topics submitted: general and Stockton market insights. I'm curious, what are people's thoughts about the market? I hear obviously people are saying it's quite high right now, but obviously we have investors on the call who are still wheeling and dealing. So wanted to hear what people were thinking about the market. What are, like, based on where the market is, where you think the market's going, how is your investment strategy changed? Would love to hear what other people's thoughts are and what they're doing right now.
For me, which is just for flipping homes, I've been doing the same thing that I've been doing for, I guess, the whole time I've been investing, and I just go after agents and wholesalers, and that's it. But I just kind of keep following up as much as possible, and then just keep reaching out. And that generally works. And also keeping the relationship with, the person that I reached out to, so they don't, forget me. That's been working so far.
Giangelo, have you adjusted your criteria? Like, are you taking a little bit less because of the market's so competitive, right? In regards to just the cost of property, cost of construction. So, like, are you working on slimmer margins, or are you still kind of sticking to like what you were a year ago?
I've been increasing my margins, actually, and I've been increasing the construction costs because I was having trouble with the construction costs. So I raised that, and I raised the profits too. I just, I don't pick the smaller margin projects.
Oh, because you're not wholesaling, you're flipping, right?
Yeah, I'm flipping.
Oh, okay. No, okay, you're flipping. I thought you're wholesaling. Okay.
But the wholesalers make a lot of money though. On the one that I just got under contract in Elk Grove, I think he was making 110 or 120,000, but I make 75,000. So wholesalers make a lot of money.
Thanks, Giangelo. Anybody else? I'm curious, other people's kind of investing strategy, how it's changed based on your market insights. Yeah, I know, Bobby, you had mentioned you just bought a few just recently. So kind of curious if the market influenced how you decided to acquire. And then Tom, I know you're actively looking as well. So I'm just curious about people's overall thoughts at this time.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing for me that, like you said, it's very competitive right now. So going into it, I wanted to look for properties where it's kind of, you've seen the listings that are out there, buy this, but this other property must go with it, second properties. And a lot of people were put off by that. There's not a lot of people except for, us as investors that are looking at that. So that wipes away a lot of people, because you're looking at a property where it's, I'm looking at selling this house, but this lot must go with it. And if most people are doing that, what I did for my strategy for obtaining both of these triplexes was, the guy was willing to he had to do both properties. He wanted to do a 1031 exchange. And so I reached out to him with a letter and just said, hey, listen, I did my research on him to kind of figure out who he was, see if he was an investor. He wasn't. He's just a guy that makes good money and has his own business, but he's not an investor. So I offered, my skills, as they be, I'm still newer, but I offered my skills to be able to help him find an investment property in Houston, to be able to 1031 that across, something that was going to be profitable in his area, in exchange for the price and the negotiation. And so he was accepting and willing of that. So we were able to negotiate a price. In exchange, I was able to help him trying to find something to move that 1031. I told him I'd be more than happy to participate in the 1031. And so that, I think that kind of put him at ease and made things a little bit easier. So that's kind of what my strategy is at this point, is looking for properties where it's, this property, but must sell with this other address. Those are the things that really entice me.
Yeah, that's super interesting, Bobby. I never heard that angle of or that approach of helping somebody to reinvest their money as a way to kind of make the deal go forward. That's super interesting, given that you I guess volunteered your services or your mentorship or your network to enable that. That sounds super interesting to me.
Yeah, so I had a question, Bobby.
Sure.
You said that you actually participated in the 1031. Did I hear that correctly?
Yeah, so I was able to just allow him the time that he needed in escrow to be able to get everything he needed taken care of. And then once everything was all of a sudden, done and everything was fine, then he was able to move the funds from escrow to buy the property he needed in Houston.
So that's what you meant by participate.
Correct. Yeah.
Okay. I thought maybe you meant that you also invested in the property in Houston.
No, I actually did offer to be a partner in something like that. I threw that in the offer as well, if it was lucrative enough and it was something that I could on the back end help him with, depending on what he was looking at, that I would also participate depending on what he wanted. But what he wanted and where I was at was not in the same ballpark. So
okay, so you were willing to do that, it just didn't work out.
Yeah, he was. If I was going to do something like that, because it was Houston, and I at this point right now where I'm at, I'm not comfortable doing out of state. I was willing to do something if it was going to be more of like a move it to something that he was going to try and fix up and then flip. But he was trying to truly move that money into a 1031, into another multiplex where he could just park that money. And I was like, I'm not trying to be a partner in Houston with somebody I don't even know.
Okay. Thanks for the clarification.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and Bobby, as a follow-up, I had just to make sure I fully understand, and kind of along the same vein of Tom. So it sounded like you worked with him for the escrow period, in order for him to find a property to exchange with. Does that sound right?
Correct.
Got it. That's great. You know, we always hear these stories of people who want fast close. They want to close right away. But the fact that you were able to work with him and negotiate the duration of the escrow period obviously is super creative for sure.
Yeah, it actually worked to my benefit, because what ended up happening with this is the person that I purchased the two properties from, the properties directly behind me, it's a fiveplex, and those two gentlemen were friends. And I helped this guy out do his thing, and he's an older gentleman, and he's got multiple properties, but none of them these were the last two he had in California. And he reached out to his friend who has the fiveplex before me, who in turn reached out to me and asked if I would be willing to do a seller finance deal because he's ready to retire. So we're looking at doing a seller finance on a fiveplex directly behind my units.
That's what we talk about for deal flow. Awesome.
Yeah, right. Absolutely.
Bobby, that's a great one. That's a great story for sure.
Well, I'll go next, Willie. For me, I mean, I'm not investing in Stockton or the Bay Area. So in regards to the property we just purchased in St. Louis, so a value add opportunity. So currently it's a 2-bedroom, 1-bath. The basement has been converted and it has a bathroom, but there's no egress. So we're going to add egress to make it an official 3-bedroom, which will add a significant amount of equity. So that was the play on that one in a pretty nice neighborhood. Just like all the markets, like St. Louis market is hot. I mean, we put an offer in on the property last month and had like 48 offers. You know, like it's just that competitive. It's crazy. And then in regards to they want to have on a contract in Michigan, the same thing. Like, I mean, this one, I think I got lucky on. It was under contract, fell out of contract, and then kind of sat. And then I was just kind of scrubbing the list to look at properties that's been sitting on the MLS for an extended period of time. And this was one of them. We knew we had some wiggle room, me and my realtor. So we came in just initial offer, like I think 10K under, and they accept it. And I'm like, oh, it's time to play. Like, because right now in that market, you're not finding anything that's not going, 10 to 15% over asking. It's just like the same thing that's going on out here is going on out there. And so did the inspection. There were some things that we found with the plumbing. We negotiated. They changed out the hot water heater, fixed some plumbing issues. So this one again is a value add opportunity. I think I got overall net knocked off about 17,000 plus some things fixed. I'll have to put about 20 into the rehab, but definitely a good deal. I'm getting it for like 67 right now. Comps in that same size house in that neighborhood are like 120. So a lot of upside. But it took some time because all the properties prior to that, I'm just in these battles, right? And I'm going against 10,000, 15, 20,000 over asking appraisal guarantees. So it's kind of crazy what's going on. I think the other opportunity that I'm seeing is like on a construction end. So reached out to like 7 or 8 different contractors out there, and I think I got 2 to respond. What I was looking for, 4 just didn't respond, and another guy just didn't submit the bid I was looking for. So especially like when you're out of state, like that is a huge like opportunity. But I think I found somebody that I can build a pretty strong relationship with going forward. But for me, it's just been value add and being diligent searching, because what we're seeing out here, what you're seeing in the Bay, the same things are going on in these other markets as well. So.
Absolutely, Jason. It sounds like obviously 30 no's get 1 yes, but you get that 1 yes, that definitely makes it worth it. So I'm glad to hear the persistence is paying off for sure. Great. I think we're hearing, Bobby, did you have a question? I saw you came off of mute there.
Yeah, I just wanted to update. So I just heard back from my contractor right now. Because I asked him, I said, can you give me an updated price range for the price per square footage? He said construction costs and lumber being the way they are, we were at 118 to 120 a square foot. We're at 165 to 180 right now per square foot in our area. However, rehab, I can get you down to about $100 a square foot rehab if it's not too crazy. That's real time.
And
That's
that's
awesome.
the Stockton market, Bobby?
That's Stockton, Lodi, Sacramento, El Grove. That's that whole area, that whole corridor, probably all the way down to, I'm guessing, about the Modesto region. And then I would imagine, I'm looking at Fresno markets right now, and Fresno looks to be cheaper. I mean, I can only guess at this point, but it sounds like Fresno might be even cheaper than that.
Is that just labor costs?
No, that's done said. That's finished.
Finish flooring, tile?
That's yep. That's the whole thing.
Gotcha.
Thanks for
Yeah,
clarifying
rough
that,
figures.
Bobby. Appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely.
It sounds like we're hearing quite a bit in terms of acquisition in this market. I'm kind of curious about what people are thinking about for selling their property in this market. Is this something that people are looking at? People doing active 1031s at the moment? Kind of curious about what people are doing who are in this group, obviously, what they're doing with potentially selling their property in this market.
I was gonna sell my rental last year after one of my tenants was in for about, I don't know, 8 years. So we went in, I had to do some rehab on it because it needed rehab, kitchen, just everything. But long story short, I refinanced out, cashed out, and a friend of my guy that does work for me, he works for another investor, and the lady does his books has a daughter, and her son got deployed, or her husband got deployed for a while. So I told her, hey, drive by the neighborhood. This is what I need to get after the refinance. I pulled a ton of cash out. I paid for that rehab. I rehabbed my house, my kitchen in my house in Fremont. So, but yeah, other than that, it's been going good. If she moves out, I might sell it in a year or two. We'll see. So.
Yeah, the cash refinance route, obviously, especially with home prices where they're at, definitely seems like a great win strategy for sure. I know, Vineet, I know you were pondering potentially selling. Is that a pathway that you're still considering, or is that something you're no longer considering at the moment?
No, I'm selling. So I'm setting up my place in Oakland to sell probably by the end of this month. So one of set of tenants have moved out, so I need to do some light rehab. So I'm looking to do that right now, and then probably I will sell it. Hopefully sell soon. So that's where I am at right now. And hopefully I will 1031 into something, but I'm looking in California only. Probably it's a duplex kind of thing with an ADU in the lower ADU, because it's like a Victorian thing. So yeah, so you and me should talk after this about something else in Stockton. So
Yeah, absolutely. I offer this to other people if you're ever in the area. Like I mentioned, born and raised in Stockton. It sounds like most of you are in the Bay Area, and Jason's here too. More than happy to take you guys around, show you some of the places. I'm born and raised in South Stockton, currently live in North Stockton now. I'm sure we can cover all of it. So Vinny, happy to chat with you. Chris, is there something you wanted to add here?
Yes, I had a question. What do you guys feel about the bubble, and how much will it affect Stockton or the Central Valley, the prices?
Yeah, personally for me, I'll definitely open it up for others to answer, but I don't personally see a bubble per se, in the sense that it will burst. I see home prices rising, and I don't think it is outlandish given the demand as well as the limited supply. So from like basic economics perspective, I potentially see home values not rising as quickly as they have in the past, but still at the very least staying where they are. But I'm one person with one opinion. Feel free, the rest of the group, given your thoughts and your experience, would love to hear what other people think.
I'll go ahead and chime in. This is Tom. So I agree with what you were saying, Willie, right? The supply is down, interest rates are down. I think we will have a slowdown of price increases. However, the market is going to correct eventually, right? I mean, just from a macroeconomic standpoint, we've been in the longest economic expansion in the United States, basically in modern history. And that will come to an end at some point. When is everybody's guess. I don't think anything will happen this year. 2022, 2023, are we going to have some kind of, macroeconomic correction to some degree? I think we will. The other part of it too, and I'm actually going to be attending an event. Let me take a look at my calendar. Tomorrow at 2:00 about preparing investors for forbearance inventory surplus. And I believe what that meeting is going to be about is that eventually, right, the forbearance on foreclosures and the moratorium on evictions is going to stop, right? People are going to start to get evicted. People who can't pay will be foreclosed, right? Because of the pandemic, the government has said we're putting a stop to that. Eventually, in a lot of areas, that's going to go away, whether it's plus or minus. Us as real estate investors, we need to be ready for that. So I'm going to be very interested to hear what this speaker says about that, because I think that's when we're going to have a fairly significant correction. And in my opinion, what's going to happen is similar to what happened during the bubble of 2008, as far as what areas are going to be hit the worst and who's going to recover the fastest. I think fortunately for the Bay Area, because of our tremendous economic engine, primarily tech, we will take a hit. It will probably be smaller than anywhere else in the United States, and we will recover the fastest. Other areas like Stockton, if you look back at history, it took a pretty significant hit, and it took a while for it to come back. There were other areas in the United States that were even worse. I think Vegas was one of them. Florida was another one. So I think once this does happen, I do think we're going to have a fairly similar repeat in that regard. How big it is, I don't know, but I think you will see that kind of circumstance where certain areas will be able to, will not be as affected and will recover quicker, and other areas not so much. They'll be more impacted and it will take them longer to recover. That's my 2 cents.
Not bad for a 25-year-old, Tom. Yeah, we were joking with Tom about him graduating from college a few years ago. So appreciate the feedback, Tom. I think, obviously we have similar thoughts, but yeah, the moratorium on or the mortgage forbearance is a very real concern potentially. So definitely thank you for bringing that up. Anybody else want to share their thoughts about kind of where we're headed? Chris, I'm interested. Obviously, you asked the question. I'm kind of curious what you think, given that you're actively thinking about this topic.
Yeah, I'm sure there's going to be a correction for sure. The Stockton market. I started to invest in 2017, and the houses were like, everything was going for like 200. Like now it's almost like 400. So I think it's like an extreme bubble in Stockton right now. What I think might be able to sustain it is the high speed rail system that's going to come there. I think that's going to bring a lot of people from the Bay Area to Stockton and the whole Central Valley. But whenever they finish that, we'll be able to see, the impact.
Chris, this is Tom. Has that started?
Yeah, it started. They actually ran out of money. They actually have like actual rails that's up. I think it goes all the way to Fresno right now, but they ran out of money.
Are you talking about the high-speed rail project?
Yeah, the one that goes is going to connect Fresno to Stockton to the Bay Area. And you're supposed to be able to get to the Bay Area in like, I don't know, like 30, 40 minutes.
Because I remember, you're making me remember of an article that I read where it was about real estate in particular. I forgot. I think they named it that this is a mega region, right? Where it's not just the Bay Area anymore. You know, it's the greater area, including the Central Valley. And that one of the key things that they said would be driving real estate would be this connection, a rail connection between the Bay Area and the Central Valley. So I haven't heard much. You're the first person that I've actually heard talk about it since I read that article. So thanks for the update.
Yeah, I believe once that's in play, it's gonna be, oh my God, it's gonna go
Yeah.
like 100,000 overnight. Because
Right.
that's what's stopping people from actually buying and living over there, because they don't want to have to travel back and forth.
Oh yeah, the commute must
commute.
just absolutely be
Yeah.
hellish.
Yeah. So
Yep.
like I said, once you're able to get on a train in 40 minutes and be home, like it's a no-brainer, because the rent and versus the mortgage in the Bay Area is probably.
Yep. Well, hopefully it'll happen sooner than later.
What I remember about that article is a bunch of contractors made a lot of money, and that's why I potentially ran out of money for the project. But one thing I did want to mention is I actually uploaded a separate video on my YouTube channel where I talked about the growth of e-commerce in the Central Valley, San Joaquin area. And if you've driven through Stockton, Lodi, Manteca, Modesto, you would see these large distribution centers that are popping up across I-5, 99, 120. And I think that actually may be a strong boost to the demand here, because that means more jobs, potentially higher wages. Stockton and the San Joaquin Valley is very unique in the sense that we are an e-commerce hub of distribution centers. You have Wayfair, you have Tesla, you have Zenus, a lot of companies who do shipping, Amazon, that do shipping out of here, and they also connect to the Stockton airport for shipping via air to customers throughout the US. So I think honestly that might be a stronger boost to incomes and demand for home prices in the area. So it's not necessarily migration from Stockton to the Bay Area, but people who want to be closer to their workplace in the Stockton area. So that's definitely something I would recommend. I have a video on my YouTube channel. Feel free to check that out. But I do want to add that as a potential factor to prices in the local area.
Can you put that URL link in the chat, Willie?
Yeah, absolutely, for sure.
Great, thank you.
Yeah, and it's based off of an article that the University of the Pacific put based on the growth of large e-commerce distribution centers that have grown in the San Joaquin Valley area. Great. So a quick time check. We have about 8 minutes left here. Bobby, I did see you come off of mute for a quick second. I just wanted to see if there was a comment or a question you wanted to ask to the group.
No, it's actually, I was going to tag on what you said, Willie. So part of my decision making for that triplex, the 2 triplexes that I bought, was the Kellogg's factory that just went out of business in the Lodi area and is being looked at for Amazon distribution. And so I thought, well, that would be a really good thought. If I could do that, it'd be, it'd probably increase the value of the properties as well. And then my W-2 job is actually in San Francisco, but I live in the Lodi area. So I have a lot of friends that live in San Francisco, and just in 2020 during COVID, I had 6 friends move to Lodi, Stockton, or Modesto, or Tracy. So the migration is real. I mean, they're all coming this way because it's just too ridiculous. I mean, Castro Valley, San Francisco, that whole area is just ridiculous. So, I mean, they're coming this way for sure. And they're looking at the same things that I'm looking at. It's the commute time, and Tracy and Stockton look very appealing. So.
Yeah, Bobby, I'm in the same boat as you. My company headquarters is in San Francisco. I've never been to the corporate office, but I live here in Stockton. So it's great to get the Bay Area income and pay the Stockton prices for sure. And Giangelo, I did want to see if you had any 2 cents on here, given that you do active flips in the area. I'm curious if you've seen a increase in demand of Bay Area people buying these flips who are looking in this area. And if anybody else who does flips in the area, if that's something that you've noticed, I think that could absolutely add more fuel to the fire that Bobby and I are mentioning.
Yeah, from my projects, prices have been going up by a lot. For example, I have a Modesto property that I bought, and I had it for a little over a year because of a tenant issue, where I was finally able to evict them. But my ARV was 317, and it increased to 400 after a year. My other property that I bought in January, ARV was like 340 to 330, and it's now 380. My project in Alameda are, I thought the ARV was going to be maybe like 125-ish. Now it's 1.4. My San Rafael property, we thought the ARV was like 1.2. It ended up selling at 1.325. So yeah, I see that the migration is helping prices in Central Valley and other areas of the Bay Area. My Napa property, I have one in Napa, and then that one, our ARV is 2.5. I was trying to be conservative and just use 2.5, and then for some reason properties are selling at 3 million now, and I thought that was kind of a lot. But when it comes to for the future, I'm not sure. I haven't really looked at it. I kind of just work right now.
Head down. I got it. Focused. I hear you. So quick time check. We have 4 minutes left. Super great conversation. I'm gonna transition over to wrapping up the mastermind here. So I do want to close out with some announcements. Join us on our Slack group. It's always linked at the bottom of our emails. We do talk about off-market deals on there. Some you may like, some you may not like, but they're still off-market if that is something that you're looking for. So I highly recommend that. In addition to that, we've been getting a lot of interest from group members to do an in-person meeting. Obviously, things are opening up, vaccines are out. So I have been working really closely with some people who have mentioned it. More specifically, Bruce, who I'll give a great shout out to. I've been in conversations with him to have a venue for us to actually meet in downtown Stockton. We have an active doodle poll. If you are in the Slack group, you can vote for your preference of date and time in the doodle poll to indicate when you're available. But based on the 3 people who have voted so far, it looks like we're almost going towards this Saturday, July 3rd date. So I would say, please join the Slack group, please vote. But if things go the way they currently are, then please save the date for Saturday, July 3rd. We're going to try to bring some snacks, some drinks, have people just talk shop, finally put actual bodies to people's faces and get to know one another. So we definitely want to make this a great community for all of us to network with, and just trying to help us all learn and achieve more of that financial freedom we're all looking for. So with that being said, we're at 7:58. I do want to see if anybody has anything they want to announce, anything they want to plug. If you're looking for a deal, if you're selling a deal, if you have a website, a company that you want to plug really quickly, feel free to come off of mute and let us all know. This is a great opportunity to get the word out there.
I have a few Airbnbs in the Bay Area, and we're always looking for new guests, especially our Half Moon Bay property, which is right on the beach, and it's very close to downtown. So if you guys would like to stay at one of our properties, I'll put the link in the comments.
Awesome. Thanks, Giangelo. I'd take you up on that for sure.
This is Tom. I had mentioned when I first joined the meeting that I am starting a new venture with some partners about modular home development, and we are looking to raise money. So if anybody has any interest in investing in some modular home development deals, I'm going to put my name and my email and my phone number. It is a very good return for people. It's a longer term play. It would take about 12 to 15 months. So if there's anybody who has any interest, they can call me, email me, and we can talk about it.
I appreciate it. I'll be in touch with you to get your information so I can add it to the comment section. And then Giangelo, I think you just sent it over, but I'll also get your information as well. Great. I think with that, we can wrap it up. Thank you everybody for joining the June Mastermind of the Stockton REI Network. I appreciate it. It's a great turnout, great conversation. Please continue the conversation on Slack, and hopefully I will see you all in person Saturday, July 3rd. Thank you all for joining.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Willie. Great
Thank
meeting.
you.
Take care. Bye, everyone.
Thanks.
Bye-bye.